One of my cleaning clients refused to pay me for my services, so I decided to give him his trash back, with interest. I have been a cleaning lady for a few years now, and while it is not a glamorous job, it pays the bills pretty well. Most of my clients are nice people who respect me, and refer me to their friends. Recently I was referred to this one guy, as he works for one of my regulars. He hired me to deep clean his house. What he didn't tell me was how disgusting the place was. Apparently even some roaches couldn't survive amongst his pit of trash, that had to be a few weeks old. After over 7 hours of straight cleaning, I stopped to have a break. When he saw me, he told me he wasn't paying for me to sit around doing nothing. I'm used to egotistical rich people shaming me for my job. I usually just finish up and never accept a job from them again. But this guy was really starting to piss me off, as after I got back to work he nitpicked every little thing I did. He mansplained that I was using bleach wrong, and needed to use a different mop on his floor as mine was going to ruin his hardwood floor. Then he complained that it still smelled horrible. No duh, genius. Your place is still filled with trash. Not to mention you're still here. I was so grateful when I hauled the last few bags of trash out of the place. Only when I went to go back inside, I found the door locked. I started knocking on the door, which turned to banging when he still didn't answer after a few minutes. He opened his door with the chain still on, and asked what I wanted. I said I needed my stuff and he needed to pay me. He told me to wait a moment and closed the door in my face. A minute later, I hear his voice from the second-story window, telling me to watch out. Then this absolute piece of poop threw all of my stuff out the window. My cleaning supplies, my purse and phone, everything I had left behind. Then he said to get off his property, before he called the cops. I told him he still owed me money. He said he wasn't satisfied with my service, so he wasn't going to pay me. I was pissed. This had never happened to me before. Not even the worst Karens I have dealt with treated me this badly before. I started pounding on his door, screaming out a string of curse words. His neighbors even came outside to check out what was going on. Eventually, the cops showed up, and asked me what I was doing. I told them this just had me clean his disgusting hazard of a house, only to lock me out and refuse to pay me. They knocked on the door, and the guy answered all innocent like. He was like, "Yes, officers?" with a poop-eating grin on his face. They asked if I was telling the truth, and he said he had never met me a day in his life before, and I was clearly some crazy homeless lady, looking to cause some drama. I rushed towards him, eager to punch his smug face, but one of the cops stopped me, and said I would be arrested for assault and trespassing if I didn't leave the premises immediately. Effing rich people and their hold on others. I grabbed my stuff and left, only I was absolutely planning on coming back. The first thing I did the next day, was inform his boss of what he had done. I told him I felt uncomfortable about the situation he put me in, and wouldn't be accepting any jobs he recommended me for ever again. He apologized, and said he would talk to him. That's when I put my plan into action. I also work for a small organization that helps out hoarders with their homes. We offer them a discounted rate to come by, and take a small dent out of their growing pile of stuff. Sometimes we come together in a big group, to clear out an entire person's home. I agreed to join one of those groups that very weekend. While we were all at the hoarder's home cleaning, I told them about what had happened with my most recent client. They were all pissed for me, and one of them told me something similar had happened to her once as well. I asked if they were willing to help me get revenge. Without hesitation they agreed, and asked for my plan. I told them as soon as we pack up the house here, whatever is left over after the donation drop-off, we should bring to his home and drop it all over his front lawn, as I would simply be returning all the trash I had previously cleaned out for him. We all had a good laugh, and went through with the plan. We didn't empty trash all over his yard, as we didn't want to litter the neighborhood. We just threw full trash bags onto his yard. One of the women had a very good arm and somehow got a few onto his roof. It was such a blissful sight. I thought that was the end of it, but then apparently word got around the cleaning community what he had done. Pretty soon, his house was the go-to dumping grounds for random trash, and it had become an odd sight whenever his lawn wasn't filled with trash bags. Most of my clients live in the same area, so I happened to pass by his house a few times a week. What makes this an even more perfect ending is when I was over at my employer, who was the guy's boss's house, was being the key word. Apparently, right after I texted him what had happened, the guy came into work, and tried to tell his boss some bull story of me attempting to steal from him, and then I called the police to try and get him arrested in his own home. He said I was highly unprofessional, and was upset he would have ever recommended someone like me to him. The problem is that I have been working for this man for over 4 years now. His wife and I actually go out shopping sometimes together. So for this guy to come out of nowhere and accuse me of such nasty things, with no proof, was the worst decision he could have ever made. His boss told him as much, and he said he could never trust someone working for him who lied so blatantly, and not only tried to swindle a good woman out of her hard-earned wages, but also call the cops on her. He fired him on the spot. After he told me what he did, he also gave me an envelope with the payment I was owed for cleaning the guy's house. He apologized, and said he would never put me in a situation like that again, and he appreciated my hard work.